I'm sure you remember how conservative my mom was about certain stuff.
We're not talking about it. Don't ask, don't tell.
Don't ask, don't tell. No glove, no love over here.
True. Hey everyone, I want to welcome you to our channel. This is Jib Jab in the Queer Lab, where we read Reddit stories and that revolve around relationships and dating stories. My name is Kai, and this is my co-host over here, Case.
Hi.
So, for today's story, this one comes off of r/dating. The name of this post is STI Testing Before Sex.
It gets better every time.
It always does. I'm a straight 32 male. A couple of years ago, I decided to establish a boundary that I wouldn't have sex with a new person until we both had current STI tests. The testing facility here is free, and you can get an appointment usually within a week or so. I don't have an accurate number in my head of the women I've dated or that I've talked to about this boundary, but I think only one woman in the past couple of years has gotten the test done happily and without giving me a fuss. Women and men, why not, of Reddit, if someone said you had to get tested to have sex with them, would you? Would you find it offensive, or would you see it as a green flag?
I am this person. I require a test before we go any further.
That's a good thing. I think that's a really good boundary to have with somebody, because so I work in a field that deals with STIs, and I see it every single day.
Right.
The people that walk in who have contracted STIs from a partner who had an STI and didn't know that they had an STI and spread that STI to their partner. And I've seen the damage that it's done to people and, you know, how much it's hurt people. So I think that's a really good and awesome boundary to have with people. And if you meet somebody and they're super hesitant about getting an STI test, that's a red flag right there.
It's a red flag. I just feel like in this situation, like, everything that glitters isn't usually gold. So for me, it's more like, I don't know, I wouldn't even feel offended by someone asking me to do this, because in my mind, at least, like, they not only care about me, right, but they care about themselves too. You know, we've all had a time in our life where we probably didn't, you know, follow up with certain things, but I don't know, the older that I've gotten, the more I'm a little more strict with these things now. So I definitely feel like that's a green flag for me.
Yeah, I have to agree. And it seems that like a lot of people on Reddit agreed as well, because they have an edit. It says, wow, I didn't think I'd get this much of a response, let alone the majority of y'all aligning with my thinking. It is a little strange for me, being that very few women in my sex life the last couple of years have been anything other than offended by my boundary. But perhaps, such as it is most times, I have been pursuing the wrong ones. It feels great to know that I'm not alone. I definitely feel less crazy.
Yeah, I think that, like, there's so much going on in the world. This requires like little to no real effort. Just show up, you know? Like, It's free. You don't have to pay for it. Like, what's the excuse here? So if you're like really hesitant, in my mind, then I feel like you've got something to hide, and I don't even want to be a part of that. So
yeah, that's definitely, for me, that would be a big green flag. And somebody on here goes, green flag. It means you've given it some thought. The people that don't take STDs this seriously are people who are willing to catch them, whether it's because they're uninformed or careless. Doesn't matter why anyway. You don't want them, and this boundary will protect you from those people. You're doing the right thing. Someone will come along that feels the exact same way and has been living in disbelief at how careless some people can be. Yeah, I have to say I agree with that. Like I said, I work with people with STIs, and that is not something that I would want to get myself. I know after me and my ex broke up, I got tested right after, and then tested about, I think it was in November, so like 8 months ago, so almost a year ago. I like to get tested at least like once a year, just because too, like, even if you're in a monogamous relationship with somebody, I think getting tested is important too, because you never know what that other person is doing.
Also, like, things like come up way later sometimes. Like, I don't know, like, as someone who's known people with HIV and AIDS, these things like show up like way later in life sometimes, and it's just too easy to be proactive about this stuff now. Like, we're not living in 1981, so I don't think there's an excuse anymore. I think back then, yeah, I get it. It was very new, very like kind of hush hush, like
you didn't talk about it. You didn't mention it. You were ashamed of it. Yeah. And I think that's one of the reasons why the AIDS epidemic happened.
Right. Let's go back for a couple of like years, right? So you and I have obviously known each other for quite some time. I'm sure you remember how conservative my mom was about certain stuff. So like, you couldn't even like talk about things. Like, I remember my mom just would shut it down. Her answer to this kind of stuff was just don't do it. Which is not an answer. Like, that's not conducive for anybody. So
it's been proven that it actually does the opposite effect when you tell people not to do something rather than teach them a safe way of doing it.
My mom definitely was like super don't bring this up. We're not talking about this.
We're not talking about it. Don't ask, don't tell.
Don't ask, don't tell. Yeah, I think that's a green flag, especially now. Like, I try to, I've got a lot of like younger friends, and I try to tell them the same things. Like, you guys have to be like safe. You want to go out here and do whatever with whoever. I'm all about that. Like, have fun, have a good time, just be safe about
smart.
It. So
yeah, be smart about it. And it seems like this person is being really, really smart about it.
Very responsible.
To me, I think it's strange that there's this onset of women that he's met that don't want to get tested. Like, I would think women of all people would like be like the number one people out there, like, yeah, test. Especially if they're willing to test too.
Again, it's the company he's probably keeping, right? Like, you've got your party girls that don't care about that kind of stuff, so who knows? I don't know, green flag for me. He needs to stand up for himself, and if the girl doesn't want to do it, then we're not doing anything. How about that?
And I know one of my coworkers was in that boat because, like, they were dating somebody, they were talking to somebody, and they brought up the idea of getting STI tested. And the person that they were with was really against getting tested, and they ended up breaking up.
Yeah, you're hiding something. Like you said, even if you're in a monogamous situation, like, you just never know. People do, like, we just talked about these things on some of our last videos. Like, people are out here just doing whatever behind their partner's back. So I say it's a test or it's nothing. No glove, no love over here.
True. All right, everyone. I want to thank you for stopping by our channel, checking out our video. Go ahead and give us a like and subscribe, and we hope to catch you guys again in the next one. Bye.